think this is the 13th episode at Culture Club, right? So Culture Club is the community curated by Culture Monkey. So Culture Monkey is an employee engagement platform. To give a quick introduction as to what Culture Monkey does is, organizations decide to listen to their employees continuously, right? Through surveys, through channels like SMSs, WhatsApp, right? So when you want to continuously listen to the employees and collect feedback and analyze the feedback and act on it, you will get challenges like employees located across multiple locations and employees having very diverse sentiments. An employee in sales feels differently than an employee in engineering, right? And then there are blue collar workers as well, right? So when you want to listen to all of this different sets of employees, you have collected a lot of data. Now this data, without having any insights or meaning from this data, you would have done nothing, right? So to derive meaningful data from all of this collected employee feedback, and on top of meaningfulness on data, if you haven't acted, you will never create a great culture, or you will never improve engagement at your organization. So actions also from within the platform, and there is a philosophy that Culture Monkey sticks to, where we say that managers are the ones that personalize employee engagement for you. So therefore, when you want to do all of this in one platform,
yes. I missed something you said. The last sentence.
The last sentence is that managers are the ones that personalize engagement. Managers are the ones that is doing employee engagement in your organization. Therefore, Culture Monkey, we have exclusive access to all managers who can slice and dice data as to how they are performing in different drivers, right? So with all of these features and modules and solutions under one platform is Culture Monkey for you. So with that quick introduction of Culture Monkey, without any further delay, let's get started with this new episode.
We would love to know you also, Senthil, a little bit what you have done, where, what, etc. How.
Okay, definitely.
I will certainly share something about me. Honestly, I should have done that a little early.
No problem. Sure. So I'm Senthil. I'm the founder and CEO at Culture Monkey. So actually, the idea for Culture Monkey has been within me as an unhatched egg for a long time, right? So after college, I was working in Infosys, and then I joined startups. I worked in different places, right? I worked in Hyderabad, Delhi, Netherlands, Singapore, and then I started this company called FE in 2017. And within 1 year, I was wondering, why is my team performing very high? Why are people who's working with me, for me, are very happy? And what is going on, right? So that's the exact time when I also wanted to build a SaaS product. So that's when I had to give a talk with PayU, the company, where they said, how are you bootstrapping startups? And then I had to put a deck, and that deck came out with 13 different slides. And after the talk, that talk was the hit. And I came back and I retrospected on those decks, and I realized it's culture, and it's elements of culture. It's high engagement. It's absence of micromanagement. So that is when my ambition to create a SaaS and my innate affinity towards culture joined hands, and we explored this engagement space and said, let's do this employee engagement platform, which is so much aligned with our passion as well. But we are still a bunch of engineers. 2018 is when we started. We were like 10, 12 engineers, and we said, hey, we have built all these features, but lacks flavor of the real human. There's no HR elements around it. We don't know what the HR team, what the slang of HRs, right? So towards the end of last year, we started, talking to a lot of hundreds of HRs within the country. And then we said, this calls for coming up with a community. And yeah, now we hear Rajesh and Ketan.
Oh, excellent. Very nice. Very, very good. Congratulations, Senthil, on frankly, to have kind of thought. When did you start this company?
It's July, August 2018.
Oh, so 2 years almost now.
Yes, yes,
A little more
yes,
than
sir.
2 years.
Yes.
So what is it that you guys do with specifics? What is it that how do you do? What do you do?
Right. So what we do is initially we send out employee engagement surveys, culture surveys, manager related surveys. So we have, that is just one, that is the inception of organization using Culture Monkey. That's the first module, right? And once the surveys are sent out, we collect all these responses from anonymously from the employees, and we can challenge that our in-depth analytics is super real time and very meaningful. You can see that in Mumbai, in my sales team, female employees in this employee tenure feel this way about innovation in their team or about purpose alignment. And we take those data and present it to the HR, whose actual action is to take some psychological suggestions, right, instead of crunching data, right, instead of wasting time in all the sheets and all that. So that's the second module. We give very in-depth analytics. And the third module is actions, where based on the performance of all these teams, we tell these are all the 3 things for this quarter you can plan. Right? We also benchmark all of this data against industry benchmark, which industry you are from. And now you are acting on this, you are taking actions from within the platform. And then I talked about managers, where managers will get access and managers will be given a mirror of themselves, where they're seeing my strength is innovation, my strength is autonomy, my weakness is, let's say, recognition, right? And they can engineer actions.
Sorry, Senthil, Rajesh has worked with Aditya Birla Group and he's seen about, I think, 17, 18 years of OHS. Rajesh, I've worked with OHS now. If you look at what Culture Monkey, and one of the reason I'm helping them is, I saw a lot of those problems that we were trying to solve, say, using OHS, where there is a Gallup question, there is a group specific question, then administering the question online. And the good part is it is manually triggered and also automated. So you can create a custom weekly trigger also. So you make the feedback continuous or time bound. And the second challenge for us is then a consultant would come and give us data saying, hey, this is what people are saying. This system throws the data right away. You can live track, okay, how many places, what's the completion score, which section you click on that, you drill down. I think that's what helped me at Trento Mojo. Very important, which we were struggling in Aditya Birla, if you remember, was developing an action tool. Now imagine, say, employees have given feedback and the system says, okay, these are the pockets where it's mostly red and you need to do something. You can go on a feedback and attach it to an HR guy or a business manager or a factory manager, saying that, hey, without name, saying that this is a trend that I'm hearing, that people are saying that the drinking water facility in your unit is not good. Now this goes suddenly into their dashboard. The HR guy can act, and most important is, especially for the meatier conversation, there is an
this application, Ketan or Senthil, works on any HRMS. It sits on that, or it's a standalone stuff.
See, that's our another unique thing, right? So we integrate with whatever is your HRMS, right? As long as the HRMS has an API.
So if API is available, it can get integrated with that, and it can be real time.
Absolutely, master level. We can
Very interesting.
Yes.
So I know Rajesh has a hard stop at 4. Yeah. So I'm going to steal the movement now. And
yes.
So for our audience, and of course, until some of the parts we will cut over. But guys, for this is for our audience. We have with us Rajesh Srivastava, who is the CHRO for Capital Foods Private Limited. Prior to Capital Food, he was working with Aditya Birla Group for close to 20 years. He's worked across any possible industry you can think of: food, cement, financial services, insurance, trading. And he's known for leading successful teams and establishing robust HR practices in the area of organization design, capability building, talent development, change management, and org restructuring. He has been mentored to a lot of HR folks, and that's where my connect with Rajesh happened. So I was fresh out of campus and landed up in Aditya Birla Group. And there are these cool senior folks who are like the practical guy, the realistic guy, who will talk less theory and give you the realistic what actually happens in the business and the nuggets on that. I have looked upon to Rajesh upon for that. One of the most friendliest senior that I've ever worked with. I never directly worked, but continued to share a very, very inspiring space with him. We have stayed connected even after a long time, and it's a personal pleasure of mine that he's come and joined this session. Of course, I'm going to asking some interesting and tough questions, but that's what I have to say about Rajesh. Rajesh, if you could tell us something more about you and about your organization for the audience, that will be super helpful.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you for very nice words. Honestly, yes, it surprises me on that we have, as you mentioned, we have never worked together in a team, which is very, very surprising. And all along we have been in touch. I mean, we lost touch a couple of years, then we again rekindled that, which is very. And I know you reasonably well, which is also a good thing. So ABG has provided that opportunity to all of us.
True.
To have that connect, whether you are directly working or not. So that was a very great thing. Right now, Capital Foods, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and Capital Foods. So I'm a student of psychology, born and brought up in a place called Allahabad. I've worked, as you mentioned, for ABG Group for a little more than 2 decades in different industries. Settled in Bombay, worked for Capital Foods. Capital Food is, I call it, 25 years old startup. So it seems like an oxymoron, but it is not so. The spirit that we experience is very similar to what I would have. I've never worked for a so-called startup, but back in like early days, I worked with Birla Sun Life Insurance. So I was among the founding members. So if you may have to speak, the first 160, 100 people. So the first policy of Birla Sun Life Insurance was sold after my 2 months of my joining. So I qualified to be a founding member in that sense. That was one place where I had this experience of kind of a startup, not in a classical sense of a startup, but yes, that was an organization which was created from scratch. So I had the opportunity, so I can relate a lot of my experiences now with some of my experiences those days. Capital Food owns 2 very, very popular brands, and I can assure you, you and some of your audience, or most of your audience rather, would be our consumer. Lots of you may have had tasted our Ching's Secret. It could be Szechuan chutney, which is one of the flagship products, or noodles, different kinds of noodles, or masala, sauces. So anyone who cooks, 2 of you or anyone who is in your audience would know Ching's sauces for sure.
Yeah.
Hakka noodle, typically we are the only brand of Hakka noodle in India.
Yeah.
It's a national brand, so to say. So these are Smith & Jones is another brand that we have products like ginger garlic paste, some of the soups, etc. Which recently we have launched another noodle in Smith & Jones category called masala, so which is coming. So lots of things are happening. It's a very, very innovative company, and I joined here 2 years back. I saw this company, so I was in fact a user of this product, this brand. So when I told my wife that, I'm kind of, this is what is happening and I'm considering this, she suddenly said that, we use some of these products, and there was a bouquet of spices and sauces. And that's when I started recollecting that this brand has been around, and I've never looked at it as an employer at that point in time. Honestly, we knew Ching's and Smith & Jones. Many of us didn't know Capital Food as a organization or as an employer, the way all of us know it now. So 96 to now, this is what Capital Food has done, has brought terrific flavors to our homes. We aspire to provide different flavors 3 times a day, all 365 days a year to every home in India. So that's our aspiration. We are very unique. We are a category in ourselves. in that sense. If you look at some of the things that we produce, I don't think that we compete with others. We are very, very unique in that sense. So very innovative, very, call it quirky as an organization, as a brand. So that's a little bit about Capital Food, fastest growing food company. 2018 we were 400 crore, 2020 we are 500, 2021 will be little more than 1,000.
Oh, wow.
So so our aspirations are there, and we will continue to grow. I'm sure that we have a lot to cover. So this is little bit about Capital Food. It's a company of young guys, very, very passionate folks. Culture has been one of our defined, stated philosophy of this organization.
Wow.
So we heavily invest in nurturing specific elements of culture. The CEO himself says that my primary responsibility is to create the culture. We measure it in different elements, and that's why I would be keen to explore most of the opportunities that we have here and there to figure it out that how we will. So we are very, very clear on cultural elements. Some of the things we are very clear, transparency, as long as, of course, barring and keeping the sensitivities, we would like to tell people as much somebody needs to know. Communication has been a very strong forte of our, most of the employees would and have told sometimes in July when we did our employee survey here, is that they know what they need to know. So culturally we say that dignity, a professional dignity, is something which is very dear to us as an organization. So we would, which is a completely non-negotiable. So for us, we have stated in every platform in the beginning when some of us joined here that behaviors like shouting, reprimanding, or abusive language, if there is any, is something which is completely non-negotiable for us, no for us. There may be, our stated position is non-performance is not a crime. Absence of a will would be a red flag. And that is something which we every time say, that non-performance is not a crime. As long as you have tried hard and you have put in your best effort, it's fine. So we say that human capability is unlimited. And so just before this meeting, we were talking two colleagues on some subject, and we said that, see, our business seems to be to test human capability. Food and rest of the things is something just happens. That is just a medium to explore that.
Wow.
Yeah. So we still believe that human soul on fire is something which is phenomenal, and if you have that element cracked, no target, no dream is beyond your reach.
Wow.
So
glad companies acting on that, but thank you.
Yeah, so we spent disproportionate time on some of these subjects. So in case there is a tough decision that we might have to have, we did have occasions of tough decisions being taken. And as soon as the decision was taken, we were the first one to inform everybody on a conference call across India. Of course, keeping the sensitivity around the person and everything in mind. We still told that what, why, etc. So we would not consciously like to create a culture of grapevine and rumors and different cliques talking different things. So we will upfront go and inform.
Very interesting.
So we have got lots of accolades on certain occasions. Some of the people said that in their previous experiences elsewhere, etc., they have not kind of witnessed the speed at which we might have decided something, and the clarity and transparency with which we communicated some of my colleagues or our colleagues have said that this was not they have never experienced something like that. So we would like to experiment some of those stuff, first of its kind.
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm worried that you have a Hotstar but 4 now.
No, unfortunately, Senthil, because that's another external commitment. So I mentioned that 4. We can reconvene some other time if it spills over.
Sure. No, I'm sure hearing from you about real things that matters and your experience would be super amazing for the audience. Having said that,
post lockdown, I just got recollecting post lockdown sometime in July, and that is another first. We announced our increment, annual performance bonus, increment and promotions and all that. Normally, HR guys will be resistant to do an employee survey then. My hypothesis was, let's test it. So we launched after a week of announcement of our increment bonuses and letters and everything gone. We launched our annual employee survey. Okay. So there was one question that we asked people to describe in one word what the culture of Capital Food. 98% of people said pride, caring, feels like home.
Wow.
1%, 1.5% was not sure types or mixed feelings. That was the response we had.
That's so powerful.
So we think that we are on the right track. Of course, lots of things need to be done.
So Rajesh, how have or what are the challenges you think the CXOs had to deal with, especially when the world went remote? Now every machine was running fine, and I think your business is as complex as it could be. There is central function, sales function, manufacturing, very, very different kind of pieces of business. But when this happened, how were the CXOs, or when you speak to CXOs across outside the industry, what do you think were the biggest challenges that they were facing? And probably to add to that, what are the good things that something like a COVID has done to organizations, to matters about culture and engagement?
See, as I mentioned, I don't think that we had challenges to deal with. I would rather we had lots of opportunity to deal with and encash. And I really don't know how much we have encashed, frankly. So we knew that the lockdown, etc., is coming. 2-3 weeks back, we had anticipated that this will come in India sooner or later. So we did some worst scenario planning, etc. That what if kind, to say that how we will. So nobody knew that how lockdown will pan out and how it will impact your business. So we had that thing ready at least. So we were very sure. Sometime the first week of March itself, that in a worst come scenario, if we don't sell even a single rupee, we will sustain, and how long we can sustain. And we were clear that we are not cutting even that point in time. Neither salary, that was not announced though, but within the 3 CFO, CEO and me, it was clear that we are neither going to reduce a job, nor we will impact the salary. We will sustain as much as possible. In fact, we had also calculated that minimum selling, how much we need to do. We'll figure out to do that so that we are on a break-even period basis on month-on-month. However, from the team point of view, to tell you that lockdown happened on 25th, if my memory serves me right, 25th March. Our plants were operational on 28th March.
Wow.
So we got permission and everything as part of essential services, and our 2 plants started operations on 28th March itself. See, that is what happens. So we used to meet twice a day as a team. So some of the things that happened, huge technology adoption. People who might have been averse to typing themselves were converts, phenomenal converts in a week's time. Logging on to Teams and sharing documents and sending documents and all that has started happening. Everybody figured out a corner in their home to be on time. So another thing which has happened is efficiency increased. Because nobody was loitering around here and there, which generally happens in office. If 5 people are supposed to meet, 3 is always outside, 1 is smoking, 2 are talking, and 1 is in another meeting, and you have to call and pull them in. All were on time. There was also a sense of national duty. We realized that the supplies are going to be drying soon. And we were given this license to or permission to operate. So very few industries, that point in time, initial days, were given permission to operate. And we realized that, and there were news that people are hoarding. You might have heard in some foreign country, people fought for toilet papers, etc., which was all trending. We felt that in our kind of space in India, food is essential, and we should be able to produce as much as possible. Fortunately, we could manage all. In fact, during lockdown period, we grew, and we grew substantially. We added manufacturing capacities. We ran our plant full capacities. From business point of view, we grew. However, the objective has not been numbers. More, in fact, lots of people in Capital Foods have said that this is more a national duty. If you go on LinkedIn, etc., and read their comments, they have said that this is a national duty that we are doing. It is not, so we need to. Of course, we had said that everybody will remain at home. We will have to follow government guidelines, national as well as locally, whatever. Within that, you'll have to venture out. We empowered people to decide. We didn't monitor their attendance to numbers, to all that kind of things. Some of we heard information from our sales team that some of the companies have deducted salaries or asked people to go, and there was a little bit of anxiety. We called entire people and told that as long as we can sustain, nobody is losing job, and we will not even cut salaries.
Wow.
And lots of people have come back and thanked, and they've said that this is unheard of. In fact, we have announced all the bonuses, etc. And whoever has done exceptionally well, we have given them surprise bonuses also as well.
Super.
So, there are a huge lot of opportunity. The senior management team as a team gelled very well. We spent lots of time together, which in a normal course would not have happened. Either some of us would have been traveling. It is very difficult to get all 10 people together in one room every day, 2 hour, 3 hour, morning, evening. The speed at which we decided things was phenomenal because all of us were together. We were locked down, but we were connected. So the decision making has been phenomenal. Morning issues were solved by evening, and evening issues solved by morning. We adopted technology, our contract manufacturing, wherever we went. A typical process would have been 3 months. Somebody will go see the facility, look at the quality and all that kind of stuff. Everything without compromising any measure, everything happened virtually. The machine was actually watched on a video camera. Specific nuts and bolts and everything was observed by technical guys here. The reports were sought, online parameters were checked, vendor quality checked. All that has happened virtually.
Wow.
So if you look at the huge opportunity, I don't think that there was in fact, honestly, 3 months, nobody has thought that they will spend so much time with their families as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I honestly, I don't, I understand, but I don't see there was difficulty. It was a huge opportunity. I think we might have missed 1 or 2.
We will definitely come back to hear more on that. So if whatever you have seen now during COVID, the changes, whatever ups and downs and opportunities that you see, where do you think, or what are the things that you want the HR fraternity to refocus on or focus more on as we move ahead, with the world being a bit different from where it was yesterday?
See, Ketan, I'm taking this question more as an organization, because I don't think that HR fraternity or HR community can work in isolation. If I take this as an organization, then that's a different one. For HR fraternity, I'm sure that from a conceptual point of view, all of us understand. However, we need to be sensitive to contribute to business. Post-pandemic, I see the basics of human engagement, connect, motivation, etc., are not going to change to my mind. It will take few generations to change. The expression and the way it happens could change. Possibly for example, there is a huge need for us to connect with each other. Face to face is gradually changing itself to virtually, and I think lots of us have gradually started to appreciate and adapt. Personally, if you see, it is far more productive. I have been able to do work and migrate to any external engagement seamlessly in a minute. In a normal course, I would have been, number one, I am a little shy to go to lots of so-called networking event. Sitting in Mumbai, this itself is a huge demand on your time. So that was another deterrent. While this period has provided that opportunity, you close a work and in next second you are in a different world talking to some of your peers or colleagues and friends, and come back again without wasting time. So that is that's an opportunity. The whole issue of how you will build capability is going very different. I think it can be far more efficient and far more impactful. Some of the things I think which is in person, which need to be done in person, would possibly take a time to get virtually. Some of the things may, for example, you can't party on a virtual. I don't think that we have evolved anything. Now, when I say party, see, party is another expression of how you connect and with your guards down and a little bit of at ease. You are talking to people, not just work. You are connecting at personal level. I think those elements will continue the way they were, and post-pandemic also we will miss that. I miss, and I'm sure that all of us miss. At work, I think the workplace will transform to my mind. So for example, lots of companies have already come back with this announcement, the work from everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think the technology adoption is going to be any challenge. In fact, it is evolving, and with 5G coming, I am sure that there will be a far more superior experience on virtual platform that we will experience. So combined with that, I think this migration to metros, etc., over a period of time, I suspect will get rebalanced. To my mind, we have started discussing and creating work from anywhere. So lots of people whose families are in Delhi, they are here in Mumbai because somebody's kids' education, etc. We said that I as long as kind of your job is amenable for that.
Wow, yeah.
One can work from anywhere, and we'll come out with the whole detailed guideline, etc. Sometimes post Diwali we would kind of do that. Whole technology, IT security, etc. will take a different dimension in that sense, because we are still psychologically. Personally, if I say I'm still not sure that how secure the whole world will be, and therefore I think that is something organization will invest heavily. The office design will change. My reason to go to office will be more to connect than to work. Okay.
Yes.
I may fix up a team meeting or a team lunch or a team evening rather than doing a work discussion or working on a project with them, which I can do virtually now. So I mean, that might be a little far-fetched, but the fact is that the whole office design could be a club design. I'm just saying.
Yeah, shared space.
Right, just come for connecting. Barring jobs which may which may need to be in office. There are certain jobs in certain organizations. For example, our R&D. Well, all right. Now R&D lab can't go in individual homes because lots of food technologists have to work together, and you need a whole paraphernalia in the lab where you do. So I think that those kind of things are still going to be working physically, and we didn't operate that facility, our R&D facility, when we were in lockdown. It is only when we were allowed sometimes in June 10%, that some of the people were allowed to come to office. Otherwise, we still don't allow anybody, barring just 30% into office. But lots of people have this need to come to office. So people have volunteered that, office ka
Yeah.
including myself.
Me too. Yeah.
So on an average, I would be going to office 60%, 70%. So I've roasted myself most of the days. So I feel going there, but so that is something. So HR needs to think and create some of the very innovative ways of how you will create this whole ecosystem to deliver. So, for example, the very concept of leave would be very different now.
Yeah.
No. We were just discussing some internally that should we have a virtually or technologically office shutdown time, that after 7, 8, whatever, if you are at home or working from home regularly, you should per force be given a break. So your system should not work, or some of your teams should not. You cannot be called.
Yes.
On, etc. I mean, it's a little far-fetched, but we're saying that is there something we can do that today? When I was working 10, 11, I felt guilty that yaar ghar hi mein baitha hu, 10 baje call kar raha hai, so what? I should, But if I am doing that unconsciously, am I expecting the same thing from someone else whom I am calling? Ki 10 baje, 11 baje raat mein you should attend.
Yes. Yes.
Should there be a discipline around that? Should there be or for that matter, whole things around how you facilitate work from home? Space like Mumbai, people have smaller homes. Very difficult to create a very secluded environment to do work. Is there something that the HR folks can do? Is there something that one can create to facilitate that? In fact, Rento Mozo is one of the things that we were evaluating, that is there something that we can do, create those kind of stuff. So those are the things that HR fraternity should be looking at.
Wow.
There's a whole lot of other things that we will.
No, I think
we definitely need a session 2 and part 2, slightly more comfortable. A lot of insights coming from you, Rajesh. One, personally helping me understand and get a perspective. And I'm sure our audience are going to love every bit of it. But what I can promise is there is going to be a part 2. From our side, just one question that I wanted to throw to you, Rajesh. It's kind of a rapid fire, but one question. If not HR, what would you have become? Or if not HR as a profession, where would you have ended up or landed up?
I always wanted to be a teacher, and I would have been a teacher.
Wow.
Excellent. Nice. No, I think thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Rajesh. I think so keen to meet you again. Which we will definitely have to organize, and also meet you again for Culture Monkey separately. So I think thanks a lot for this. So yeah, looking forward for the part 2 and get more insights. I already stole that policy from you, which I'm looking to implement in my company. That after 8, let's shut down. Nobody calls nobody. Right, so we've been suffering from that. Honestly, we've been suffering. And it was all on me, right? So I think I should take this very seriously. So, thanks a lot, Rajesh.
So thank you, Senthil, and thank you, Ketan. Thanks for those nice words, and I do look forward chatting up with you guys next time. We will fix up.
Yes.
It was a pleasure talking to both of you, Ketan and Senthil. All the best. We will connect again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Same here. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ketan. Bye, Alicia.